everyone, and welcome to this episode of Dishing It Out with Dana. I'm Dana, and today in my kitchen we're going to make my famous raisin spice scones. You heard me. You know, on my last show I explained how scones can be very dense and boring and dry. These aren't. These are flavorful and they're spongy and delicious. It's my own recipe. You're going to love it. I'm giving you the secrets today. So get your pen and pad ready. Come right back after this and we'll get started. We're back. So we're going to start by telling you the ingredients. Now I like to use my KitchenAid mixer. My KitchenAid has worked for me for years to make my famous scones, and I love it. So you don't have to use it. You can do it dry by hand, but it's best to use the KitchenAid mixer or hand mixer if you have one. You're going to want to use this paddle for the mixer. Now I want to point out that we are making raisin and spice scones today. Delicious. Now on my last show, when I showed you how to do my pineapple scones, we explained all of the ingredients, but today it's just a pinch different because it's a different flavor. So here we have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. We have 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. That's going to help them rise. We have a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon mixed in this small tiny bowl. We've got 3 teaspoons or 1 tablespoon, same thing, 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. We have 1/4 cup, and you probably won't need this entire 1/4 cup, but we're going to start with 1/4 cup of cream. You can use heavy cream, half and half, light cream, whatever you desire. You don't want to use milk, the consistency won't be the same. So I like to use cream or half and half in this. We're going to lightly beat this egg, just 1 egg. We're going to use the zest and the juice of 1 medium orange. And then this especially is unsalted butter. We have 1 stick of unsalted butter cubed. And that's very important to keep this butter cold. Everything really needs to be cold, the ingredients, to go into this scone recipe. That's one of the secrets. And then this would be for an after effect. I've got a little cinnamon sugar in here. I just mixed a little cinnamon and sugar together to sprinkle. And we're going to use some melted butter, and that's a little after we're going to put in the end. Now today I'm using, as I say, we're making our delicious raisin spice scones. So I have 12 ounces of raisins. If you use dried fruit, dried pineapple, dried cranberries, dried kiwi, whatever you use in your scone, dried apricots, use 12 ounces for this recipe. You're going to make 2 dozen scones. Now these are the mini scones. These are my famous mini scones. I have a pre-formed pan here that I've already sprayed with butter spray. And this makes 16, but I have another pan. This actually makes 2 dozen of these mini scones, this recipe. Now if you choose to use, if you have a regular cookie sheet and you don't have a pre-formed pan, no problem. You simply take your cookie sheet, lay some parchment paper on it, and you're going to cut the scones roughly about yay big, just enough. Cup your forefinger and your thumb together, a little bit like that, and just cut them. What you're going to do is use a cookie cutter, cut them in a diamond shape or what have you, triangle, and then you can just place them on you can even do them in round cookie cutter shape is fine. So, and you just make sure you use parchment paper. Okay, ready to go. So we're going to start by telling you one little secret for this board. This board is not moving. You just take a wet washcloth or a wet towel, place it under your board, and you know what? It won't go anywhere. So when you're working on a board, that's a little secret. I just want to tell you that quick tip. Okay, here we go. We're going to start by mixing our dry ingredients. So we have our bowl. We're going to put in first our 2 cups of flour. Get that all in there. 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. And 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And we're just going to mix that all together, just with my spatula. You just want to mix that all together. Get the dry ingredients mixed well. Perfect. It's going to be delicious. You can serve this as brunch. Oh, marvelous. All right, so here we go. Dry ingredients are mixed. Now we're going to place the bowl onto the mixer. Just like that now. Perfect. And now is when you want to put the paddle on. All right. We're going to enter the 1 stick of cold cubed unsalted butter. So we're just going to put that right in there. Here we go. Let's use this side. Perfect. And we're going to put this on probably a number 2 setting. We're going to stir it up a little bit, and then we're going to put it on a number 2 setting on the mixer. You just want to like carefully, you don't want flour all over the place. So you want to just like carefully stir it up together in the mixer. All right, that's good. I'm going to put it on a number 2. The secret that you want for these butter cubes, you want them little pea sizes, as small as you can get them. And that's really what's going to work for this recipe. Okay, this is good. While that's going, we're now going to start adding, let me just quickly beat the egg, and we're going to start adding our other ingredients. Now before you add the wet ingredients, you want to finish with the dry. All right, it looks like I can now, the butter's pretty tiny. That's working. Okay, little tiny cubes. That's pretty much what I want, just little tiny pieces of butter. I'm going to add the nutmeg and the cinnamon, stir it up a little bit more. Okay. And while that's going, what we're going to do, we've beaten our egg, put the wet ingredients aside, and now we're going to take our orange, we're going to cut the orange, and we're going to zest it. So we're going to start with our little handy zester. Now what you want to do, you don't want to get too much down to the rind. You see what I'm doing here? You don't want to get down to the rind or it'll be bitter. If you end up with a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons, depending upon the size of your orange, just fine. You see how nicely that's zesting? Isn't that pretty? That's working well. All right, so we're going to zest this a little bit more. We'll continue this. Whoop, let's get that out of there. Perfect. Yeah, scones can really be tea in the afternoon, coffee, serve to your guests, have them for brunch. I've done so many orders for the holidays. People have wanted them. Christmas Eve morning, Christmas Day. They're wonderful. They go great with Dana's Famous Quiche. So make sure you check my website, danasquiche.com, and you'll see all my beautiful website for that. You'll see all the quiche running across, and you can even inquire. Email me about my cookbook. I have cookbook on disc that I sell as well. Okay, this is good. So let's take our spatula. Perfect. That's probably, oh, that's Marby's. That's perfect. So you've probably got a little more than a teaspoon of the zest. Perfect. All right, let's put that in there. Love it. Now, we're going to take our orange and cut that in half. Now, if you don't have one of these orange squeezers, I recommend you get one. They come small and they can do limes. They come large like this in orange to do oranges. I love them. Okay, perfect. Let's turn this off right now. And what we're going to do is bring this down. We're now going to remove our paddle so we can add all of our wet ingredients for the moment. And first we're going to juice the orange. And how I did this, if you don't have one of these handy dandy juicers, there's holes here where the juice will come out. You just put it in just like that, and you're going to squeeze it right into the bowl. And here we go. Perfect. All right. Excellent. Let's do the other one and we'll be done with that. I've seen professional cooks squeeze lemons and limes and oranges by hand, but not me. This works the best. Okay. We're now going to add our lightly beaten egg, and we're going to add our tablespoon of vanilla extract. All right. Paddle goes back on. We're going to mix our wet ingredients. Let's just bring that back up. Perfect. I'm going to add now my raisins. There we go. 12 ounces of raisins right in the bowl. Putting it all in together there. Beautiful. That looks great. Okay. I'm going to show you what this looks like at this moment before we add in our cream, our last ingredients. Okay, let's just take this paddle out and show you what this is like at the moment. You see, it's all coming together, and you can see everything is blended in. Folks, if you can smell, that is so good. I can smell the cinnamon. All right, at this point, I think what I'm going to do before I add the cream, for just a moment or two, we're just going to kind of stir it from the bottom. Make sure no flour is left at the bottom. That's the only thing with these KitchenAids. Sometimes you can get a little bit of flour at the bottom, and you want to make sure everything is thoroughly mixed. You don't want to miss a trick. This consistency so far looks perfect. We need a little bit more moisture, and that's going to be our 1/4 cup, probably not quite, of half and half or cream. We're going to start with about a little less than a 1/4 cup, and usually that's all I need. All right, so you can see it's getting moist. Let's put this back on here. Okay, and if I could see the other side, that would always be a help. Put the paddle back on, and let's bring this up here. Pour in about 2/3 of our 1/4 cup of cream, and let's see what happens here. I think that's going to do it for sure. Okay, now one more secret with scone recipe: you don't want to over mix it. That consistency is great. It sticks to my hands, but not too much. Beautiful. And with this, you don't even need to flour your board. It's amazing. It's really cool. Okay, let's take this baby down. We're going to clean off our paddle, and we are ready to, I'm going to show you this consistency right now. See, it just comes right off the paddle. That's perfect. Okay, we're going to use our spatula, and you see how much moister that is now? Yeah, we don't need any flour on the board because we're just going to roll this into small, little tiny round pieces, and we're going to put them probably the size of a small meatball, and then you're going to put that into your formed pan, or as I was speaking earlier, on your parchment paper on the cookie sheet. Okay, perfect, awesome. This is going to be great. So we're going to form it just into the palm of your hand, probably like a small meatball, and probably about that size is good, maybe a little bit more. Yep, and we're going to put that right into our formed pan, which I'm going to grab right now and show you. Okay. Yep, there we go. Excellent. So again, formed little small meatball size, right? There we go. And we're going to put that into our formed pan, and that's probably about the size you want for mini scones. You know, you can take these scones and you can make them bigger. If you do, they're going to cook a little bit, a couple minutes longer. You just want to make sure you don't overcook. All right, I'm going to continue to form my little scones inside my formed pan. So there's one more step to do. I'm going to continue to put my dough inside the formed pan, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. I have finished forming my dough into my preformed pan for these delicious raisin and spice mini scones. Now the final step. We're going to take a little bit of melted butter. Now, this is salted butter, and a lot of cooks would use salt inside the recipe, but not me. It comes out perfect the way that I make it. I don't choose to use salt in the recipe. I like to have control of the amount of salt I use, so I use salted butter on top of the scones, and it just adds in that lovely flavor. Okay, I'm just gonna spread a little bit of melted butter on top. You can be as generous as you want. Everybody's got butter on them. Perfect, nice and shiny. Now for the last step, we've got a little bit of butter. Now the last step, I've got a little cinnamon sugar. You can do this yourself. Just put a couple teaspoons of sugar and maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, mix it all in. Smells so rich and warm. We're just going to sprinkle that on top because these are, after all, raisin spice scones. So that's going to mix in beautifully on top. On my other scone recipes, if you've looked at my other shows, I just use plain sugar, but because this is raisin spice and it has cinnamon in the mixture, the cinnamon adds a delicious topping for it. All right, nice and shiny and pretty with that sugar and the butter. Now, last secret, very important. This pan will now go into the refrigerator for 30 minutes. You want it nice and cold before it goes into the oven. So in the refrigerator 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, you put it on a 400-degree oven for approximately 17 to 18 minutes. You want them to brown lightly on top, and then they're done. Take them out, let them cool for about 10-15 minutes. Perfect. You have them with a nice cup of tea, hot cup of coffee, hot cocoa. Marvelous. Your guests are going to be wowed. Okay, we'll be right back with the finished product. And here we are with the final product. Wow, these things look great. Listen, folks, I don't know what to say. They're beautiful, they're moist. Look at them. They're full of raisins. Oh my gosh, they're beautiful. Let's give it a shot. We got to do a taste test. See how moist they are? They're spongy. They're not that flaky, so they won't fall apart. You got to make sure you keep them in the pan for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes before you take them out. They're so spongy. The aromas are so divine. Let's give it a taste test. Wow. I taste that warm nutmeg and the cinnamon. Folks, these are great. And get on my website, danasquiche.com. Also, my website, dishingitoutwithdana.com. And you'll get some more of these recipes. You'll see my YouTube shows. Make sure you subscribe to my channel because I'm giving away my cookbook on CD in the future, and we're going to have a lot of contests. Email me, Dana@dishingitoutwithdana.com, and let me know how yours came out. Until next time, bon appetit.